Hello everybody and welcome back to Broken Korean, and today I'm taking a pause from my research from an article I read a little bit ago that was just posted that Riot Games will now ban content creators and probably other people on social media for offline comments, conduct outside the game within their games. So if you say something or anything outside their games on social media, YouTube, any streaming service out there that they don't like, they will ban you in-game from their games. Now, there's so much to unpack here. It's ridiculous, and I'm down a rabbit hole right now, but I had to stop and get my thoughts out while I'm continuing to look into this because it's crazy. It really is crazy. And some of the stuff that I've seen in the past few months is starting to click and make more sense now because of it. And this is just something. I was watching a live stream and I can't remember the user's name or the people involved, but it was a live stream of a content creator who was streaming and is in a Twitter beef with some activist, and she got really drunk on live stream and started saying some nasty things about this person, and she was suspended in game for a week. I don't even remember what game, and I'm trying to find it. I'm going to have to go through so many live streams that I've been watching over the past month, but she was banned for something she said to another person, and the reason she was banned is because that person had connections to the studio that she was playing through on a game. And so this suspension was 7 days. It's not a big deal, okay, but for someone, and I didn't know her, but she has a very big following on Twitch and Kick, and she's a very big gaming streamer, and I know it starts with an S, and I cannot, and she's a younger woman with brunette hair, dark black almost, and I can't remember her name, but it was but that's where I was kind of like, oh, that's crazy, that's probably just an isolated incident, and I don't like to read into things, but now I'm going slight conspiracy theory, but not really. It's going to be what I unpack here, what I found so far is a bit disturbing, and it will make my last video on Nintendo Switch being banned in China will start to make even more sense now, and that is Riot Games is 100% owned by Tencent. Tencent Corporation owns a lot. It's a huge tech conglomerate based in China who has very close ties to their government. So, okay, what does that mean? Okay, it means they're putting they're putting as many fingers as they can into the tech industry, from social media to gaming, specifically gaming, and so many other things. It's a bit scary. And, when you get to a big corporation, they want to diversify and maximize their profits, and I get that stance, but now they want to control people. So, I'm going to stop here for a second and explain something to people who don't understand the nature of gamers and competition gamers. Now, I'm primarily now a solo gamer. I play games that are single player, and I do occasionally play Fortnite, and which is owned by Epic Games, which is owned in part by Tencent. So, you will not be seeing me stream Fortnite ever now because of this. I may play it, but I will never stream it. And there's a lot of streamers out there that stream Fortnite that are going to be like, oh my gosh, is Epic Games going to be next? Could be, don't know. but we'll unpack that in a second. But gaming, when I was growing up, we would talk crap to each other. And it wasn't like online. They were sitting next to us. We would say some of the most nastiest things and most terrible things because of the heat of competition. And like, oh, that's just toxic. Mike, any semi-professional, collegiate, or professional, or even non-professional sports team out there, period. Pick your sport, pick your team, mic them for one season. The stuff that they will say will blow your mind. Because part of competition is getting in your opponent's head. They will say terrible things and do terrible things. It's part of the competition. If you can psych them out, you can win. That's part of competition. Competition is unarmed warfare, is what it is. And it can get nasty. Does it have to? No, it doesn't have to. But I guarantee you, competition breeds getting into the mind of others. So saying terrible things to each other is just part of the thing. I mean, the things I heard in junior high on my football team from my team and the opposing teams would make you sick. Make most people sick. But being on the field, in the game, we absolutely knew that was just part of the thing. They're trying to psych us out. We're trying to ignore them. We're trying to come up with something better to psych them out in return. Because mental warfare is part of competition. So this whole, we're going to try to get all this toxicity out of there. Well, if you want to get toxicity out there, make single player games. This isn't toxic in the broad sense that they always talk about. Oh, it's bad things. This is competing is mental warfare. And so, yes, people say terrible things to each other. Hands down, I've said some terrible things to literally my best friends since I was kids that sat next to me playing NES, playing Genesis, playing Mortal Kombat, Mario Kart, all the original stuff. They're sitting right next to me. You know what? I said terrible things about to them. They said terrible things to me. 40 years later, we are still friends. That's just part of the game. There is a line where we're like, whoa, that was too far. Because we're friends. We're sitting next to each other. That's too far. Well, I absolutely say, and when you're really close with each other and you're competing, you will say even more personal things. But there's always a line. And we always respect that line. We always like, oh, that was too far. And so, yes, mental things. So this is just insane. Because if you banned everybody for saying terrible things in any sort of competition, we wouldn't have professional sports ever. Ever. Oh my gosh. UFC's gone. Football's gone. Soccer's gone. Volleyball's gone. Basketball's gone. I mean, all those sports are gone. Those are just the ones I know personally. I've heard people say terrible things in. So, absolutely, this is part of the equation. So, is it toxic? No. Is it part of the game? Yes. Is it acceptable in outside this arena? No. Is it acceptable inside this scenario, in this arena? Yes. It's acceptable. And I know it sounds like it's a contradiction or it's hypocritical, but it's kind of one of the things. It's like if you went to warfare, you can't do the things you did on the battlefield at home. You don't. You can't do those things. They're two separate things. You're trying to apply rules in one arena from another to another, and those don't work. If it did, there would be no war. There'd be no conflict. And I understand that's a utopian goal. I get it. And I would love for a utopian world. I would love for utopian gaming, but that's not our reality. Can it be fixed? Not unless you can change the nature of humanity, which is impossible. We can go down the theological reasons for that, fall of man, the basis of sin, and everything like that. But we're not going to go there. We're just going to, we have to accept this is how things are. And to change it, we have to fundamentally change humanity, and that cannot happen. It's been millions of years? How many thousands of years of humanity documented? And has this changed? No. This is humanity. So, getting off that tangent, let's get back into what I was talking about, and that is Tencent and Riot Games. Now, them banning offline behavior is one of those weird things. You're like, okay, well, it's just Riot Studios. Well, Riot Studios being wholly owned by Tencent means that they have their fingers in multiple gaming studios. You gotta wonder. And I found this awesome article that I will link down below, along with this one, by Retro Style Games. I'm sorry. They did this huge article. And I'll scroll to the top. Tencent and company secretly owns the gaming industry. And they're not quite... It's a little hyperbolic. It's just like some of the things I might be saying is a little hyperbolic. But they're on a path. And Tencent is in everything. And here's one of the big things. Was it here? Yeah. Tencent owns a 93% stake in WeChat. What is WeChat? WeChat is the social media Chinese software. Like, it's the only one that's really permitted. It's the one that 93%, they own WeChat, and 93% of the Chinese internet users use WeChat. And how does that equate? Basically, this company owns WeChat, which is the biggest social media platform. So let's just say all of social media in America. Let's say Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, Snapchat, and every other one I can't think of. Imagine all of those were owned by one company with close ties to the federal government. What? That means the government has its pulse on what's being shown and shared. We already saw with the Twitter files, we saw what was done. We saw reversal of what Zuckerberg did when some of his stuff that was done on Facebook. So yeah, that's crazy. They own it. But they own comics, stakes in comics, virtual reality, e-commerce. They've got like a PayPal clone that's, in China, that it's called PayPay, that they use. They're in health insurance, data processing, urban development. But here's where we're going to focus on right now, and that's their gaming section. So 100% they own Riot Games, Supercell, Funcom. I can't even read what that gear one is. Shark Mob. They own 40% in Epic. They own stock in Activision Blizzard, which at this point I think everybody does at this point. Paradox, Ubisoft, Bluehole. And that's just some of them. And they even got more. Funcom, Love You, Sumo Group, Visual Arts, Turtle Rock Studios, Wake Up Interactive, and Flexon, Fulcrum Publishing, Tequila Works, Cly Gaming, and that's not an exhaustive list. It's not. Do I still have it up? I don't think I have it up, do I? That's not it. That's not it. I don't have it up. But there's other even smaller studios that they own stock in that either has taken place after this or before, and yeah. So there's a lot of major games out there. I mean, Ubisoft, we've seen what Ubisoft's been doing, and no surprise there that I don't know if Tencent has a huge play in it, but based on what's been going on in Ubisoft, I bet Tencent has the ear of the family controlling Ubisoft. Epic Games, I mean, League of Legends is owned by Riot Games as well. So is they own they created Valorant and Epic Games, Fortnite, and so many others. And so I went and looked through all these studios of what games I actually own. And uh, there, I don't own many that's owned by Tencent companies. I have on my Switch. I've got Portal, Brawl Stars, Subnautica 2, and Fall Guys, and Mario plus Rabbids. That's it. Of all their companies, I own 5 games among those companies, and well, I haven't played, honestly, Brawl Stars, Subnautica 2, or Fall Guys a lot. My son plays Mario vs. Rabbids a lot. Portal, I bought it for nostalgia's sake, and I've played it a few times, but I mean, I don't mind. And I mean, just kind of like, oh, what can we do? And what they don't realize is some people, when they do that, they will push a lot of people out. And you know what? That's okay. You know why? Because of this. And that is, hold on, let me see. Manage. Okay. And that is, there are a lot of indie studios out there. I've been trying to promote some indie games that I've found that I enjoy and hope other people do, because indie studios are out there, aren't owned by Tencent, and they just want to make the products they do. And right now, I mean, if I had to cut off purchasing games until all this blows over, I'm in good shape. Just on my Steam profile, I've got 99 games I need to play through. 99. I've got 11 demos. I've completed 3. I've got 5 live service games that I do. But yeah, I mean, 100 games. Basically 100 games I need to play through, or versions. I'm good. And if I go through all those, I have an entire shelf of NES games, an entire shelf. An entire bookcase of NES games, GameCube games, and Switch games just to play through. Quite a collection. Plus, I've got my NES Classic. I got my SNES Classic I can play through. And I'm good. Like, literally, I probably don't have to buy. If I don't want to, I can probably game for the rest of my life without purchasing another game ever again. Think I could. But seeing how this is a possible trend with Tencent, because let's go back to just a few weeks ago when I made a video talking about how Tencent, its partnership with Nintendo, is shutting off, and Switch services in China will end in 2026. Could it be that Nintendo said, hey, we're just not going to play the game that you're trying to push, and they broke off their partnership and say, oh, well, we can no longer provide you services? I mean, you cut off Pokemon to China. It wasn't until later it just kind of clicked. Pokemon in China. And because this article is written back in March, so it still shows Nintendo and the Pokemon company partnered with. They're partnered with EA. Okay. They've obtained licenses for Battlegrounds and Call of Duty. I can't remember what QQ is, but it's a big thing. And in China, but look at all these other properties that they've published, and NetEase Games. These are their competitors, and that's a small list of competing gamers in China, competing game studios in China. And wow, I really just don't know. I mean, it's almost like Tencent doesn't want, it wants total control of who displays their games and how they display them. Because there's articles out there that one of the developers is for Dragon Age Veilguard is blaming YouTubers for the downfall of the game. And I'm like, you can watch some of these games like Dragon Age Veilguard of these YouTubers that had bad things to say about them. Watch them on mute. No audio whatsoever. And you'll realize, man, this game is not right. You just read the subtitles of the dialogue on Dragon Age Veilguard, and you're like, this is just not a good game. It's like, what did they do to Dragon Age fans? I mean, Square Enix is on that line of where they could go either way on this, but so far so good. There's a lot of talk around Dragon Quest III remastered with the Type 1 body, Type 2 body, and they had to do some censorship for a bunch of the games, and I can see the censorship in Dragon Quest XI, which I'm playing through right now, and it bugs me only because the censorship is so, I wouldn't have noticed it if they left it in. It's so minor. It's very minor. Just little pieces of fabric here and there. I wouldn't have noticed them being there or not being there if it wasn't pointed out by someone else. It just wouldn't have clicked in my mind. And I'm like, okay. So Tencent is this huge tech company now that's going to start banning content creators. And you're like, oh, well, they're not actively. It's just content creators. For now. If you post something on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or something that says, hey, this game I'm playing through right now, it's terrible. And here's why. Here's the reasons I hate this game. Boom. You may lose your access to your Epic Games account or your EA account. And all because you voiced your opinion on a game. That's not making games for gamers. That's making games and forcing people to like your product. You have to like our product because we made it. No, we don't. We don't. I mean, that's just one of the things. I mean, seriously. I will play a game that's good, regardless of who makes it. And that's a statement I stood by till about 4 hours ago. Now, if I stream or say something, if I said something right now that said, and I lost access to the game I was playing through, I'd be teed off. Because as a gamer, I'm enjoying the game and I'm playing through it and I want to finish it. And now I no longer can because I said, oh, well, I've got this weird little glitch in the game. And that's all I could say. There's a glitch in the game. And that could be deemed as disruptive or negative or toxic. And all of a sudden, I can't play it anymore. And all I did was voice an opinion on some social media platform. Or point out something that was mildly. And you're like, well, Stuart, that's a little bit of an overreach. Yes, it is. And it's one of those things everyone's like, oh, you can't do the slippery slope logical fallacy. No, we live in 2024 where the slippery slope is just a predictive measurement that seems to come true more often than not. It does. Like, that's just, you're just overreacting. There's a group out there I follow on Twitter. It's like LGBT only, because they talk about the issue. Because I'm trying to understand another point of view, and it's gay, lesbian, bisexual people that are out there that are like, yes, we wanted our rights, we got our rights, but now it's gone too far. I'm trying to understand their point of view. Do I agree with everything they say? No. Do I want to understand why they say it? Yes. And that's how we should take things now. And we've in today's society, I think in society across the globe, it's you disagree with me, now I hate you. I literally have people that disagree with me on various topics. My closest best friend vehemently disagrees with me on religion. It's insane how his view has changed. To me. To him, it makes sense. He calls me up right now and says, I need your help. I need you to come to my house. I'm hopping in my car and I'm driving 6 hours. He is my friend. He will always be my friend. Because I know the few things that would make me cut him off, I know he won't do. But just because we disagree on religion doesn't mean I hate him. We also disagree on politics. I mean, those are the two biggies. We're so far apart on both those subjects that you're like, how can you? I had someone else be like, I can't believe you're friends with this guy. I was like, he's my friend. He's not even like, he doesn't even think like you. No, he doesn't. But I love him. He's my best friend. And he's been my best friend since we were 13. And just because our views have switched and moved apart from where they used to be, we used to be simpatico and now we're far apart. I don't hate the man. I love the man. But this is that type of thing. If we could apply that here, if we could apply that everywhere in life, we would have a much better world. But when it comes to this is censorship. You are saying something I disagree with, so I've got to stop it. No. Do I think people on both sides of any topic have the right to say what they want to say without fear of direct retaliation? Absolutely. Do I think there's consequences to things we say? Absolutely. But I don't think silencing anything, period, is the good way to do it. Because here's why. And this is the one reason I say this. It's not because of freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of this, freedom of that. It's when you silence a point of view and you ban talk and discussion on any topic. And there's already one I'm kind of putting an exception for in my mind. And I know some of you might be thinking it, but I'm already thinking it. There are certain things that we agree collectively are evil. Period. Across the board, this is evil. Killing someone, evil. Inflicting harm on someone for no reason, evil. There are topics like that. Yes, we all agree that's bad. Should we silence talking about those subjects? No. Should we listen to why that person said that so we can figure out what happened in them to make them go this way? Absolutely. And because of banning talk, it leads to one thing: extremism. And I'm not talking like, oh, they're like a left extremist or a right, a religious zealot or all that. I'm talking extreme beyond that. And when it's pushed so far, people start grabbing to, well, why is this so, why can't we talk about it? And they start to go see, and this idea becomes so powerful and so interesting. And even though it's a terrible idea, the fact that we won't even discuss it creates this power behind it, this power of this idea, this horrible thing to, create a life of its own, where when it comes back into the topic of conversation, it is not a topic. It is a steamroller coming in to flatten everything in its path. And that causes devastation on a societal level. That's why I don't think, oh, well, he said something I don't like on this topic. I don't want to surround myself with people that agree with me 100% of the time. What fun is that? Can we celebrate things we agree on and enjoy? Absolutely. Should we invite people into our lives that disagree with us on different topics? 100%. You need to understand why they view it that way. They need to see why you view it that way. You need to talk about it and come to an understanding. But when you have companies like this saying, if you talk bad about us, we will ban you. That's tyranny. That is tyrannical control of speech and freedom. And I'm against it. Speech should never be banned. Some actions need to be banned. Murder's one of them. And things like that. But speech, we need to talk about everything. Because we need to get a better understanding of how things get to where they are. We need to learn from our history. We need to study our history. And we need to keep companies like Tencent from doing this. But they have their fingers in so many areas that it can start to filter down into the games we like. I mean, seriously. Where'd it go? No, that's the bottom of the article. Saw that graphic, and that's the WeChat one. That's a lot of gaming studios. And it's like, oh, well, there's tons of gaming studios. There are tons of gaming studios. I showed you, out of like the 100 games I need to play on my Steam account, not one of them is from a company from Tencent. Not one of them. Now, they may purchase my entire collection minus 5 games of Nintendo Switch games. Is that? I didn't go through my GameCube games and NES games, but that may be too far back for some of these. But I do have a lot of Ubisoft games from way back in the day. I do. But those are offline games, and they're not going to touch those. But, I mean, I need to put a little warning label on those games when I pull them out and be like, oh, don't stream this one. Because, I don't know. What could happen to me? What could happen to you? This is insane. I say so because it's right now, it is just, they're focusing on content creators. And there's a little video from one of the Valorant studio heads. And say hi to Karen for me. But it says, though we aren't proactively monitoring everything that happens across social media, it is now within our rights to issue penalty in-game when content is brought to our attention. Let me kind of break down that legalese. We're not going to actively monitor. But if it's brought to our attention, we will address it. This is like Blue Sky all over again. I haven't done a video on it, but just do your research on Blue Sky and what all that is done. It's insane. This promotes reporting on an epic level. No pun intended. But hear me out. Oh, well, someone said something I don't like. This content creator said, oh, they voted for this person. Well, I think that's wrong. And I'm going to make up some reason to report them to Riot Games or Epic Games and try to get them banned. So many gamer words just went right through my head. I'm just, nope. That's some low-tier loser crap. That's what that is. There's somebody who spent time and just trying to be the best at the game, and they're the best at the game, and you come in and they just take you out over and over and over and over again. It's like that one person on Call of Duty. You always seem to get in that lobby with them, and you can't make it 20 feet without them taking you out. And you get mad. Oh, I hate this guy. I want to find out who he is. Oh, I found him. Boom, report him. That's some low-tier loser crap. That's what it's promoting. That's going to promote worse toxicity in your games than what currently is there. And so you got some few people with some hurt feelings. When this mass reporting, which I'm going to predict now, is going to skyrocket, just like it inevitably will. Hey, we're not looking for it, but if you report it, we'll look into it. The reporting is going to skyrocket. And there's going to be a lot of content creators. There's going to be a lot of players that are not content creators, but the people they follow, their friends that are playing this game, are getting banned for things they said or did that had nothing to do with the game. Well, if they got banned, I'm probably going to get banned soon. I'm just dropping this. You're trying to control behavior, but you forget we don't need you. Tencent, Riot Games, Epic Games, all these other studios. We don't need you. There are many other studios out there that are not doing this. I've got 20 plus indie games I need to play through that they just want people playing their games. They want people playing their games, enjoying the games they made with love and passion to enjoy them. And if there's some massive issue in game, they will deal with it. But they're not worried about what people are doing in their private lives. Why would they care? Because this isn't control of the games. This is control of the people playing the games. And this is why I hate this. This is why I fear this. This is beyond control. I'm literally, anytime I'm looking at purchasing a new game now, I'm going to look at that studio, look them up, and if they're owned by Tencent, if Tencent has any stake in that studio now, I'm out. 100%. I'm out. And like I said, I don't have that many games. But I'm buying games that I haven't played, that people have played decades ago that I'm just now getting to. I'm playing games that I missed. And I'm playing games that I find from these indie developers, from Kickstarter campaigns that I am in love with. I don't need Riot Games. I don't need Epic Games. I don't need Ubisoft. They forget that we also have the choice not to play their games. They don't see that yet. But that will become a consequence. I mean, come on. Even if you took full control of Ubisoft right now, Tencent, I don't think it's going to turn out the way you want. I mean, with Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed Shadows, even the new Avatar, the old Avatar game. Oh, I should have done a video on this, but I didn't. Look it up. It's crazy. The Avatar, whatever that one is for, based on the movie franchise, James Cameron's franchise, The Blue Aliens. They made a game, and a lot of people loved it. And recently, they pushed out a demo DLC. And now you can no longer play the game if you didn't buy the DLC. You can't play the game. Oh, you can't play this game because you have not purchased this DLC package. What? I'm playing some older games that have a lot of DLC, and I'm just purchasing the base games and playing them because they look like fun. And if they are fun, maybe I'll buy the DLC later. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But if all of a sudden I couldn't play it because they released some new content and I have to purchase the new content to continue playing the game, the base game, yeah, Ubisoft's made some terrible, terrible decisions, and it's just, the continuation of it is just remarkable. But this is just insane. And I know I went down I went down like 4 or 5 rabbit holes. I've gone on like 20 different tangents, but it all has this center point. And that is trying to control behavior of gamers in and outside the games because they want it. Because that makes their product look bad. Some car company came out and everyone started buying them. Everyone loved them. And then we find out a year later, oh, yeah, the transmission randomly explodes after like so many thousand miles. Well, I'm never buying that brand of car ever again. Because if you let it hit that mark and it's just terrible, it's not good. That makes it, that car, a not safe car, a not good car for me to own, then I'm out. It's a similar situation. You made a bad product. People are going to dump that product. And you're going to lose roughly, I'd say 25% to 50% of the people of your brand completely. Oh, well, they just made a mistake on this one. Okay, fine. There's a lot of people out there. I'm probably one of those people. Oh, well, yeah, that game was terrible. That doesn't mean the whole studio is terrible. They just made a bad game. That happens. When you're a studio and you're pushing out a lot of games, you got a lot of projects in the works, the high probability of one of those games being trash is up there. It just is. You make a lot of products, one of them's not going to be good. That's okay. But this is just continued over and over and over again of what we're seeing in the industry. And I mean, I don't like it. And I don't want to be... If you watch my content, I want to point out things that people need to watch for, but I want to be upbeat and positive as much as I can. Because everyone needs it. Especially I need the positive thinking and the positive things just with everything else going on in the world. We need to focus on what brings joy and love into our lives. And this is the exact opposite. This is destroying freedom, and I'm against it. And I just can't believe this is out there, but it is. And I'm truly just at shock that this is happening. Let me rephrase. I am upset this is happening. I'm not truly shocked. I foresaw something like this happening. But during my investigation, just researching Riot, I realized, oh, Riot's owned by Tencent. Hey, I did that video with Tencent and Nintendo. Hey, Tencent, I did a video a while back with Tencent and Ubisoft. I should look at Tencent a little more. And I'm not done looking into them and where all their fingers are and what all pies, but it's alarming. And it's alarming for those people that don't know. I have friends that play Fortnite and they just play Fortnite. They found a game they love to play it over and over and over again. They look up stuff on forums and Reddit and all the other things that just that talk about Fortnite, things they can do, strategies and things like that. They're just focused on that game alone. They're not seeing this type of stuff. And I could get a text or a message from one of my friends saying, hey, I got banned on Fortnite. Why? Well, apparently I retweeted some politician or some other person on the wrong side of whoever they think is supposed to be in charge, and now I'm banned in Fortnite. That's terrible. That should not be the case. And while it sounds good, when you take a step back and look historically where these measures have gone and how they continually progressed out, and when you see the pattern that has been repeated throughout time and history, this is where it's going. It's not a slippery slope. It's a recognition of patterns. A recognition of human behavior. A recognition of several chapters out of Machiavelli's The Prince. And that's a book that I literally hated to read because it made me hate humanity. I mean, people are like, oh, it's one of those books everyone should read, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nope, that pretty much just made me hate humanity. Yeah, because it just made me realize that, yeah, everyone fundamentally has this evil sin nature in them, and they can do terrible things, and I hate it. I hate that it exists. And, yeah. But, yeah, some of these strategies are straight out of Machiavelli. People should read it, but they should not implement it. They should read it to understand what's being done. This is it. Controlling speech. Controlling behavior. Straight out of The Prince. Straight out of The Prince. So I want to get this out there for you to understand what's going on, for your safety, for your ability to enjoy games. I know it's a dark, I don't want to think about it either. I'm probably going to go play Super Mario Wonder just to clear my mind after making this video. Just something that's just fun and happy. It was like Mario Wonder, and there we go, boom. Just something to kind of clear all this mess off my brain, just so I can relax and be calm for a minute. But please be aware this is happening, and we've got to be aware that this may not be isolated. This may be the beginning. Could it be the end? Yes. But unlikely. This is why you should always focus on who's putting these games out, and just because it's not like we can just buy a game and play anymore. We have to be aware of the repercussions of just having free speech may negatively affect our ability to play games we enjoy. So that's out there. But take heart. There's a lot of stuff out there that Tencent doesn't have its fingers in. I've got 100 games, roughly, that I can play through on my Steam account. Probably another 200 something pre-2000 that I can play, without any worry. And this may be why Nintendo lost its access to China, and why I'm probably going to start improving my Nintendo Switch collection. So I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about getting games on Steam or PlayStation or Xbox that stream online. And why I enjoy now that my single player games are great. But who knows? I mean, Square Enix may go this way, and I may have said something they disagree with me that I said during a live stream on Dragon Quest, which I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head, but I may have said something that they're like, oh, he mentioned God or politics or something, blah, 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 and boom, ban, can't get access to my games anymore. That would stink. But it is what it is. So we got to focus on what it is and not what we want it to be and what we don't want it to be. We have to focus on the matter at hand and how we're going to react and adjust to it. For me, that means, there's 5 games I'm not playing anymore that I own. Am I kind of sad by it? Nah, not really. I'm not even that good at Fortnite, but with the one exception is, hey, my son can play Mario and Rabbids. It's not like he's out there doing things that he doesn't have social media or anything like that. He just plays the game. For him, he loves that game. So he can absolutely play it. There's no online connection for it, or I'll disable the online connection with it. So we're all good. I have to make some adjustments. So will you. And those adjustments are up to you. They're not up to me. They shouldn't be up to a company either. Those adjustments should be made by you and you alone. You decide what to do with this information. And I pray that you think about it really hard. Because if we support games like this, owned by these companies that will do these things, the problem won't go away. It'll get worse. And that's my opinion. Do your own research. Start with the 2 articles that I'm going to link down below and go from there. Do your own research. Maybe there's articles that just prove all of what I've said. That means Video Game Chronicles and Retro Style Games are wrong. They may be wrong. They may be right. But all I can do is report and give you information you may not have access to because you don't know it's there. So, keep heart. There's a lot of fun games out there. And Nintendo seems to be a safe one to stick with. Just saying. So until next time, my friends, as always, I love each and every one of you. And I love you all. And there's nothing you can do about it. Whether we agree or not, I still love you. So until next time, have a good one.